had that spirit here since 1969. Right?
I will tell you, in our experiences, Jeff, traveling the world,
Yes.
this may be the lone national beer. Because remember all those, this is the favorite beer of Zambia.
Right.
And we were like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
pretty shitty.
Right.
This is actually a national beer of Belize, and I was like, I will buy this here in the States. But that's not what we're here to talk about, because we are live.
Oh, are we live? Good morning. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Sunday. We are here, all three of us, the main co-host, and of course, Ziggy's also here, but she's running the board. So we've got a full boat, we've got a full crew, we've got everyone back in their appropriate seats, sitting behind the silver excellence in podcasting microphones. Is that a thing? Did we just make it a thing? I'm sitting here, my name is Jeff, and we now have a shadow of the Gold Dome. It has been foggy all morning, but now there has been a clearing, and I can see the Gold Dome right here in my window. And under that shadow, I bring to you this illustrious cast. Did I say illustrious yet? Yes, I just said it, so now we can continue on. I will go ahead and introduce them to my left. Frank Heathington in Johns Creek, Georgia. Say good morning, Frank. Okay, so we did get sound from Frank. I'm not sure that we got a
Actually,
good
all right.
That's Warcraft, isn't it?
That was a Murloc.
That was a Murloc.
Warcraft.
Blast from the past. Speaking of blast from the past, we have Mr. Thom home, do we not? In studio.
We do.
Thom is in studio.
Why does that make it from the past?
Well, because before he...
I don't think you can
studio.
explain your way out of this one. Yep. Good morning, Thom. Welcome back to the States.
Thank you. It's good to be back here in the U.S. of A's.
Yes. How was your jaunting through the world?
It was great.
Eye-opening? Yeah?
As always.
Excellent.
One learns by leaving their comfort zone.
One does learn by leaving their comfort zone. So we will hope to bring all of our listeners and our watchers here this week outside of their comfort zone for just a few moments as we expand and expound upon all these ideas that we are here to discuss. First and foremost, and without any further ado, Prince Jonah Kuhio Kuhalalalayandarede.
So close.
Okay.
How would you say it?
I would try to say it slower. Prince Jonah Kuhio Kalanianola Day.
Kalanian Ole.
Okay, so is that Obama's? Is that President Obama's real name?
Kalanianole. Kalanianole.
That is not President Obama's real name, correct?
This guy is not from Kenya, so he is not. Since he is not a Kenyan, it is not Prince Obama.
No, wait a second. I got it. It was the name of the guy from Coming to America.
No, this was the first U.S. senator that was of royal birth.
Really?
Member of the House. He wasn't a senator. He was a U.S. House of Representatives.
This is the first congressman
Oh, so he was a
to be
Mormon.
royal born.
So is he from Utah?
No, he's from Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Okay.
Mekaleka hi, mekahaini ho.
What royalty in Utah is there?
Brigham Young.
He's not royalty, and don't the Scientologists, aren't they based in Utah, and don't they have royalty from the spaceships?
Shh. We're not supposed to talk about that,
Your
Jeff.
soundboard is so weird.
We're not supposed to talk about things
So
like that.
weird.
What is on the docket this week?
Okay, so this Princess Jonah Hakuya, he's from Hawaii, and they are having a day. And if you have not Google image searched him yet in this show, you should. He has a phenomenal mustache.
Wait a second. What? Who are we talking about?
Prince Jonah Kuhio Kalaniaonole.
Oh, we're still on him? I thought we were actually getting to the topics of the day.
Oh, okay. So what happened in this week in history?
This week in history?
Twitter was founded 9 years ago.
Has it been 9 years, really?
9 years. But
Really?
before that, who knew what a hashtag was, right?
You.
No, hashtags weren't even a thing until Twitter was around for 2 years.
Jeff. We've had this conversation before. Okay, the actual symbol is not a hashtag, right?
It is an octothorpe, but its colloquial term is hashtag.
Pound sign.
Its previous colloquial term was pound sign.
Gotcha.
Its current colloquial term is hashtag.
I like to say,
excuse me, hashtag.
I'm kicking it old school. Pound sign.
Pound sign.
All right, so 9 years ago, right? So now I feel like Twitter is completely immersed in anything you watch on television. So especially like, with the basketball that's been going on right now, and it's like each one of the games in the tournament has a hashtag, and then it's like, hashtag final 5 minutes. I'm like, seriously? Do we have to have a hashtag for that? Is that a thing?
Well, you don't have to, but they get to it, which means people are engaged. And the thing that I think that is immensely valuable about this whole Twitter and hashtag thing is that you can literally have a conversation with a huge conglomerate or some sort of celebrity and have a chance that they are going to respond to you. It is to our modern world what the letter to a star used to be. Used to be you could write a letter to a star from, Hollywood or whatever, and you'd have a 1 in 10,000 chance that they would write you back.
Who I wish was alive and had Twitter would be Elvis Presley. And I'm not talking about Elvis Presley like when he was a saint in the 1950s. I'm talking about like drugged out 1970s Elvis. I mean, that would be some amazing tweets that dude would like. I just something in my mind just saying.
You don't think he would have handlers that would keep him from
I would rather 70s Elvis have a awesome Instagram account.
That's what I want to see.
Okay.
Yes, I want to see.
Here's me and the boys
video.
doing some naked golf carting on Graceland.
I want to see the Vine video of him eating a hamburger, just like the Hoff, just like that.
On a never-ending loop.
Ladies and gentlemen, our goal that we have shared with you. All right,
that's where we came off the rails right there.
Wait, did we come off the rails? Those are the rails that we lay. We lay these kind of rails so that we are ready to go. All right, so then also this week, not in history, but in current, we just had South by Southwest.
Yes.
Right? I am listening right now to the Pandora station from South by Southwest.
For those viewers globally who may not know what South by Southwest is, that is obviously a remake of the Alfred Hitchcock film North by Northwest.
Was it born of Kim Kardashian, but when she was down south?
Wow. You really went there.
Because Northwest, Southwest, you get it?
Yeah. That's when Kanye flies budget airlines.
Oh, my God.
Kanye,
Sit down, Kanye.
I'm on Southwest.
Sit down.
I need another drink.
Tearing
Where's
right
my
now.
stewardess?
I'm literally tearing. It's that funny. Hold on.
Yeah.
No, wait a second. This all kind of coincides, right? Didn't Twitter get popularized by Southwest 7 years ago?
Twitter was founded at South by Southwest. Right? It was announced. It was
it's a full
spoken
circle.
of, as well as Foursquare, as well as a number of other things that you've heard of.
Yeah. So no, really, the South by Southwest, which really began as a music, kind of an open house music festival. Thousands of artists go down, and even more so fans attend. Now it's also expanded to be there's South by West Tech, South by Southwest Edu. There's an education week, which I think precedes it.
Right.
It's a whole big hullabaloo.
And interactive is the key one. South by Southwest Interactive is where people would release big things, et cetera, et cetera.
So it's like TED Talks had a baby.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Stop trying to bring TED Talks into it.
TED Talks with Burning Man had a
Nope.
baby.
No.
Not the same thing.
No.
But a little bit more like Lollapalooza has really smart people that do smart things during the day before the concerts come on.
Okay.
I just loved you and I just now going nope.
Nope.
Well, I read a really interesting, a great New York Times article talking about how much it actually costs bands to go and play South by Southwest. Most of the artists, the majority of the artists playing South by Southwest are doing it at a loss.
Oh,
They're doing it at a huge loss. but with the hopes that the investment, the exposure, maybe they'll get a few happy reviews online or something, or get some press, printed press, possibly even, and then eventually that investment. But we're talking tens of thousands. There was this. I
mean,
there is the name of the band, but 3 women in the band, and for them to travel from New York to Austin and then do a few shows there, it was going to cost them over $10,000.
Well, okay. Yeah. And the thing about it too, Tom, it's not like Lollapalooza was like in the 90s. I mean, the way that I've seen these band listings, I mean, there are probably over 500 bands that perform at this 5-day music festival. It's insane how many bands are there. I've never even seen a set list that many, and it's all kinds of different
but it's supposed to be if you don't like this band, walk 10 blocks up the street and go listen to another one.
Or
that's the idea.
If you can't get into this venue,
right.
walk 10 blocks up and see if you can get into the next venue.
That's right.
I think I remember last year it was like some horrific accident occurred there, like somebody was going through the crowds in a car or something. I mean, maybe that happened last year or 2 years ago. But
well, and they have issues with the fact that there's so many people in so many different hotels. It looks like they're dealing with the Four Seasons, the JW Marriott, the Austin Convention Center, the Hilton Austin downtown, all of these different venues, the Radisson Town Lake, all of these different venues have people that are speaking, right? And so when you're moving from one to the next, it's not one convention center in Austin like they do in Vegas, where it's very easy to get from one convention room to the next. These massive people flow out onto the streets after they're done. And so you have this pandemonium going between the different speaking venues, much less the concert goers.
So I have a question for you, Jeff.
Yes.
This is a word that I discovered on Urban Dictionary today.
Yes.
Would South by Southwest be an Ed Hardy?
Can you explain to me what an Ed Hardy is?
An Ed Hardy, like the tacky tattoos?
An Ed Hardy is a douchebag brand not worn by hipsters.
Then no. There will be many hipsters at South by Southwest.
So an example would be
the garbage cans will be empty because the hipsters would have gone and dug in them for everything they could find.
What?
Don't hipsters eat out of the garbage? Isn't that a hipster thing? They ride their fixies to the recycled garbage thing?
Consists of ridiculously low quality garments at hideously jacked up prices. So would South by Southwest be that nowadays?
No.
It could be heading towards it.
How much does it cost to go into Southwest by Southwest?
The internet could tell you. I could not. No. But speaking of random performances, last night, across the street from my house, there was a show at the iDrum, which is the art house directly across the street from me. And it was performance art. And it was all... art. It was performance art, and it was by a feminist group that was doing something that they were, trying to do in some feminist fashion.
Wait a second,
so
you're just seeing the Cranberries again, man. You went to the 20th anniversary of the Cranberries World Tour. That's exactly what you're getting to.
But I went over there, and there was some female that was writhing on the floor in beans.
Okay. And
after she took 3 lines of cocaine in front of 80 people.
Okay, so that wasn't performance art, or maybe it was.
It was performance. It was performance.
Wait, so this is an actual person that was in the crowd doing this? This wasn't...
No. This was the performer.
Holy shit.
On stage, did 3 lines of coke. Couldn't really tell if it was real or not, right? And then basically shook up a 40 and tried to chug it.
Lord.
Which you've ever tried to chug a 40 while it's foaming from the top. Can't be easy. Cannot be easy.
I need to
move on.
I need to vent a little bit because and this is where I'm not a Philistine, but I will say 90 plus % of performance art is just awful. It's just really awful. It's just really there are good obviously artists who work in the medium of performance art.
Right.
But there's also a lot of people who just are just awful and talentless, and this sounds like something that would just made my head explode in anger.
Yes. Although she did a reading of a poem that was excellent. So in part of her performance, she did this whole memorized poetry that she said with passion and fervor, and she did a really good job of that. But it was 10% of the performance I saw. So 10% was respectable enough that I would have watched it for a free show. Then the rest of it was just weird and not really thought-provoking or interesting. She sat there for 10 minutes saying, beans, beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you... And then waited for the audience to scream fart.
That was her poetry reading?
No. There was another piece of poetry reading before that. Then she pulled out this bag and sprayed out beans all over the floor. And she says, beans, beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you...
Wait,
look for the audience to chime in with fart.
You
Check,
found
please. Check, please. No.
I don't even know.
I literally sat there in a train wreck session just watching it happen, going, really? Really?
Moving on.
Okay, so
because I need to get that out of my head.
Yeah. So there is a bill in San Francisco I believe it's from the mayor of San Francisco, to move the voting age to 16.
Is this Gavin Newsom again?
Don't know.
Has he popped up again?
I don't know.
I just learned that I learned that. What was it? I learned that only a couple weeks ago that I learned that Gavin Newsom was the cousin of Joanna Newsom, which blew my mind.
Who's Joanna Newsom?
She was probably at South by Southwest. She's imagine if a fairy came to life and played the harp. That's Joanna Newsom. She's an indie folk harpist. Mm-hmm. I've seen her perform before. Of course, her cousin or whatever would be the mayor of San Francisco. Yes. Anyway, moving on. So you think Gavin Newsom,
right?
Bill in San Francisco,
right? For fairvote.org, that is attempting to lower the suffrage age to 16 or 17.
To 16.
16. So my question to the panel is thumbs up or down. Would you support such a bill or not support such a bill?
I don't think I would support the bill.
You know, it's such a weird thing because, you know, it's Ziggy votes yes, she would.
I don't trust a 16-year-old.
I know other countries do it.
Yes.
I know that the age of voting age is. So then my question is, why not 14? Why not 13 when a child becomes a man after they've had their bar or bat mitzvah?
Yes.
Well, okay, all right. So let's play devil's advocate, okay? So 16-year-olds can work in this country, correct?
So a compressed schedule with extra breaks, but yes.
But they can earn an income, and then the government taxes
them
on
with a
that income,
15-year-old,
right?
Same with a 15-year-old.
So if the government is taxing you, then why can't you vote?
Okay, so if you want to say at the moment that you collect a paycheck, you now have the ability to vote, I would support that.
That would be my
I would support
advocate.
that. I would support that.
Just the first thing that popped into my brain.
But I also support the concept of anybody who is a taxpayer of even $1 should get a vote. And then anyone who pays over the national average of taxation should get 2 votes.
I wasn't trying to make this
Stop.
a
I knew you were about to
taxation
do that. Stop.
This is a voting rights
and the men
issue.
and women of our armed forces get 3. And
yeah, maybe.
no.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Picking winners and losers. I like it. I like it a lot. And I get 1 million votes.
Really? That's what you're paying in taxes? Oh, we need to talk.
No, it's because I'm writing the rules, and since I write the rules.
Yeah, if you tie it to employment or the age of working, that I'm starting. Okay, that's a nuanced argument. And if that's how it's being argued, why to drop it to 16? Then I'm like, okay. Otherwise, if it's just arbitrarily, it's like, well, we think, I don't know.
We think that you can make a rational decision in 16,
Yeah.
and it would encourage people by the age of 18 to actually vote and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you want to say, hey, these people can and should be contributing members of our society at the age of 16, they're physically and mentally able and capable of being contributing members of our society, and at the moment that they become a contributing member of society, then they get to vote, I could buy that argument. So if you earn a paycheck or you pay taxes in some way,
well, let me ask you this:
the right to sign up for
so
vote.
Michelle's beating me to the punch, but I'm even thinking beyond drinking. So should cigarettes now? The cigarette age should be dropped to 16. Gambling dropped to 16. Alcohol, as Michelle was jumping in, dropped to 16.
I think alcohol at 18 it makes more sense.
Why not 16? I mean, if they can make
because
if you're saying they're mature enough.
But I like the concept of alcohol coming after voting, right? I like that concept. I just think all of it, we should treat younger individuals amongst us more as adults earlier. Right? So I don't disagree with a driving privilege that you get at 14 or 15 that then you lose in that first window between 14 and 18. You lose your driving privilege at the first conviction of a major traffic violation.
Look, let me be very blunt about American society right now. And I'm going to say something that's probably not going to make people happy, but because I see, Michelle's kind of piping in to say, we'd be on par with Europe. Okay, let's talk about something. This country and the way we raise our children. So now you're saying we want to treat them as adults,
right?
But you can't flip it like a switch.
Nope.
You've spent the previous 16 years coddling, helicopter parenting.
Yep.
Telling them that you can do whatever you want. You're, the whole complaint that people have had about millennials is that they were raised to be told that they could do, that it's an extension of that. You can do whatever you want. So now you want to flip the switch at 16 and say, and you're ready. I know. I think you got to change the way children are being reared, or society is encouraging children to be reared before you can go and then assume that they're going to be mature enough to make these decisions. So
in a utopian world, I'd like to be able to make them at 16. I think they'd be able to. But you have an extremely valid argument that we have not raised them from 6 to 16 in order to be prepared for those decisions. Our society has not done a good job of raising them to that level.
Can I just point out something, that before we give 16-year-olds the right to vote, can we give American Samoa with its 5,700 residents the right to vote? It's only been a territory since 1900.
Viva la American Samoa.
I mean, they serve in the military. Why can't they vote? It's ridiculous.
I really like the pause that happens after Frank comes up with
They vote in Super Tuesday primaries.
It's like you put a tea bag in and you just wait for the tea to come out.
So when I talk, it's like steeping?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to steep after you speak.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's steep this new country of the day. So there's 3 countries of the day that I want to stump the panel with, okay?
Oh, yeah?
And then we can get Ziggy in on this as well, because I know this is Ziggy's favorite part of the podcast segment. So at any rate, we're talking about the favorability of the United States, right? So
favorability, okay.
Favorability of the United States globally.
Uh-huh.
What 3 countries like the U.S. more than itself? Can you name them?
Oh, interesting.
3 countries that like the United States better than they like their own country.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, let's go with Zimbabwe.
No.
3 countries that like...
And I will give
Cuba?
you a hint. I will give you a hint. One of these countries was relevant in the news this week.
Israel?
Israel is one of them, yes.
Wow, that's weird.
Nigeria.
Incorrect, but close. I'll give you this one. You guys will never get it. It's Guyana.
Guyana.
And then the last one was an American territory for a while.
Philippines?
Correct.
Huh.
So the Philippines, Israel, and Guyana all have a higher favorability of the United States than the United States does of itself.
Oh, wait.
awesome.
So they like America more than America likes itself?
Yes. That's
No, I was thinking you're saying that like the Philippines liked America more than they like the Philippines.
Yeah, according whatever favorable means in this
Gotcha.
PewGlobal.org research survey.
Got it. Which means they asked 20 people in each country. Some random questions.
20 people outside of the San Francisco Voting Act for do you want it to be 16?
You know what would be really fun to do for a summer? Be the person who does the surveys for, what is that game show? We asked 100 people, top 10 answers on the board.
Family Feud.
Family Feud. Doing the surveys for Family Feud.
Are you serious?
Come on, wouldn't that be fun to do for like a weekend?
No.
In case you're
Come
wondering,
on! I would totally mess with it. Like, what's your favorite kind of sandwich? Top 10 answers on the board. And then be like nudging people to give them answers that are ridiculous.
and just in case you're
you just want to game this. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
and in just case you're wondering, the bottom 3 countries were Egypt, Jordan, and Pakistan. Not
Egypt,
surprising.
Jordan, and Pakistan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, speaking of U.S. And favorability, there was news in Israel this week. There was an election that I know very little about. Go.
I
Yes,
know that
there was-
Netanyahu basically said the Arabs can't vote, and he basically marginalized 1/3 of the voting public.
Marginalized mean made them pissed off or made them irrelevant because they couldn't vote?
Made them irrelevant because he got the factions that were believing in the ultra-conservative views of his party to come out and vote more than the Arabs would.
So let's
my
back up a
understanding.
bit because I know Jeff needs a little bit of a
Yeah, I'm a
little background
4-year-old when
the
it comes
story.
to this story.
Oh, and explain
So-
like I'm 5 segment.
So there was an election.
Explain to me like I'm fine.
I mean this goes back to part of the criticism of Netanyahu's appearance, invitation from Congress to speak at Congress was basically the U.S. has a longstanding policy of not really doing anything that might look like it was endorsing a candidate, and allowing Netanyahu to come and speak before Congress looked like it could be perceived as endorsing a candidate so close to an election. That was part. I know some of the complaint was that no one hadn't gone through Obama, and it was looked at as kind of like a way of slighting him. So Netanyahu was basically scrambling because polls were indicating that his party, his conservative party, the faction that it leads, could possibly lose in the primary and not come out as the largest party. The Zionist Union, which was a new party, it's a combination of 2 previous parties, more moderate or center-left parties. They had united, created a new party, and polls were indicating that they might actually win. So Netanyahu really started throwing everything out there, including turning back on in 2009, he had said that a 2-state solution was a viable solution to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. He basically said that would never happen under his watch. Basically flip-flopping. And then, so the election comes, he wins, surprising, the polls were wrong, his party wins handily, and he will continue to run a conservative government. At which point he then proceeds to flip-flop again and say, no, actually, there could be a 2-state solution. The reality is, Netanyahu, the only thing he really, it's nakedly apparent, the only thing he really cares about is staying in power. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and will say anything and do anything to basically just stay in power.
He's proven that he is just a politician.
In the most most reductive of terms, yeah.
His alliance is truly to his job, and that is it.
Yeah, and I think Michelle put this on the docket because the question is, seeing the direction, seeing the kind of just, the failure to get any traction when it comes to a peaceful resolution of the issues there. I don't know if it, obviously, just like he says, it'll never happen under his watch. I don't know if the U.S., the UN, the Big Six, all these organizations, if they'll ever get a peaceful resolution to the situation, as long as not just he's in power, but those kind of more conservative policies and politics are the end.
Got it. So, I don't disbelieve that he is a complete politician. I think that he is. I can't imagine that we're going to get any place on the peace over there whenever you've got somebody who is just being politically expedient. So, thanks for the explanation.
You're welcome. That's what we're here for, to educate each other.
That's right.
And to challenge each other.
That's right.
And I want to educate you on something that's totally fascinating to me. Also in politics and politicians. I learned about this. And I'm so pissed that a friend of mine just got back from France, because I totally would have had her looking for this. Apparently, the new hipster thing in France is like, The Economist wrote about this, it's like Chirac chic. Jacques Chirac, former president of France, elder statesman, is apparently, old photos of him are really in vogue right now. Like, you can get T-shirts with him jumping a turnstile or smoking a cigarette, and it's like the cool thing to have, like a poster on your wall or a T-shirt or printed on a bag. Like, there's this whole obsession with, 1960s Jacques Chirac. It's so random, but I love it.
But wasn't he the prime minister like during the Clinton administration, like in the 90s?
He was. I'm trying to remember, because he was mayor of Paris. Then I think he was prime minister because he was president. He became president in '95. So he became president during. He may have been prime minister before that. I don't remember.
Well, you know what? I would rather have my picture on all kinds of vintage handbags and really popular shirts than have a museum that is exposed with the interior being the exterior and the exterior being the interior, like the Pompidou. So if I had my choice, I would go with the Chirac. Chic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jinx.
All right. I don't know what to do with that last statement there, Frank. But,
like
there's something else in the news this week that I don't know what to do with. Okay?
Yeah.
But I figured I'd bring it up anyway because it's in the news, right? So there was this concept called Race Together that was brought by Starbucks.
It's being
largely lauded in the news media as a terrible execution. Just awful.
Together. So defining
the
race,
idea
like,
is that all races are supposed to be together in some way, and Starbucks did this on their cups and a big ad.
No, okay. Let's back up. You're okay. So the concept apparently was and again, I want to read the employee manual, because I also want to be. I wish I could have been working at a Starbucks when this came out and looked at my coworkers and been like, what the fuck are we supposed to be doing? So the idea was writing race together on the coffee, like they do, they write the name of the person.
Right.
Was to basically, the end point was like baristas were supposed to engage, and baristos, baristo and barista.
Really?
Is there a sex to
barista?
barista?
There's a masculine and a feminine, I believe. Yeah, barista is the feminine. I believe
it's
baristo.
Italian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like, you don't order a panini, you order a panino. Panini is plural. One panini is a panino.
I don't even
but
know
they
what
serve
panini is.
panini.
You serve paninis, but you would like.
But you should add a panino.
I want an eggplant and cheddar panino. Just like one biscotti is biscotto.
Wow.
Just like, or you order 2 cappuccinis, not 2 cappuccinos.
Wow, because there is no S.
Just dropping some knowledge. Okay.
That is.
So the idea was to write race together on the coffee cup, and use that as a vehicle for engaging the customer in a dialogue about race. Here's where Michelle had floated this idea. We talked a bit about this. Baristi. Is that the plural, Michelle?
So
we had talked about putting this as the asshat of the week, and help me out, America, because there's got to be a new term for it. Because I want to say, I know their heart was in a good place, but their brain done left the building.
Yeah.
Because this idea just makes absolutely no sense.
No sense.
Oh,
and
that's
I'm thinking
why,
I'm making minimum wage, maybe more than minimum wage at Starbucks, and you're telling me that new to my job description is that I'm doing this, and am I qualified to do this? Or I guess, but then again, I should say not every having a dialogue doesn't require a degree.
No.
Granted, but
or some training session.
Or a training section. It just is. I don't know if they're talking. Michelle just wrote. Are they therapists?
It's just not generally a good idea. It's just not a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
I'm hard pressed to think of the yeah, with alcohol. Maybe if they were spiking those coffees, then the dialogue could really
So maybe I'm missing this, but what is the whole deal with the race? So is it you're supposed to treat everybody the same?
I guess they're supposed to engage the customers in a conversation about race.
About race, yeah. The one thing I will commend it, because this is the one thing that I was reading this, listening to this great NPR piece that was talking about the evolution of an event happening, like a shooting or, and so they're going through like the whole evolution of, okay, first, the shooting happens, people protest, the police acquit, there's more protests, Al Sharpton shows up, and then someone says we need to have a national dialogue about race, about guns, about police violence. Right. Always this national dialogue. It's like, and that's when it ends. It's like, oh, as soon as someone says we need to have a national dialogue about X, the story kind of ends. Mm-hmm. The national dialogue never happens, though, which I realized. I was like, oh, everyone just says, like, well, you need to have a national dialogue. That never happens. So I do want to, like, give a small little, there.
Nod. Give them a nod. Give them a nod.
Like, let's have that national dialogue. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to have a national dialogue in fucking Starbucks.
All I know is Howard Schultz. I guess he's is he the president or the CEO of Starbucks? I don't know. Maybe he's the owner. I don't remember exactly. But he was on CNBC. CEO, right? So he was on CNBC the other day. And I'm like, why is Howard Schultz on here? But the guy looks like he's 50 and he's like 71.
Wow.
And I'm like,
that's because he has a lot of coffee in his life.
No, it's because he's from Seattle.
Ah, where the rain doesn't give you cancer.
Apparently not.
61, just to be clarified.
Oh.
In Associated
but he does look
News,
like a good 61.
In Associated News, but ridiculous, in Austin this week, the Austin mayor was very upset because stickers were being placed on the front of shop windows. In which side of the town was it on?
Well, isn't this where South by Southwest is?
East Austin. Yes, East Austin, which is not anywhere near where the South by Southwest is, but there were stickers that were placed on store windows, 6 store windows, all owned by African Americans, and the stickers said exclusively for white people. Maximum of 5 colored customers / colored back of house staff accepted. Right? Literally, there is a professional-looking sticker that was placed on store windows. And
someone was tagging these predominantly African American owned or African American owned businesses with whites only stickers.
Yes, exclusively for white people.
This country's never going to grow up.
And it says the stickers also feature a City of Austin logo. And state that the message is sponsored by the City of Austin Contemporary Partition and Restoration Program.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things.
So that is my moment of, oh, geez, ridiculousness, right?
Yeah.
Because the
God.
news should have pieces of ridiculousness as much as you hear about the apartment fires and whatnot like that. So here's my national dialogue. Stop putting stickers, people!
Seriously.
Thank you for contributing, Jeff, to the dialogue on race.
Discuss amongst yourselves.
Oh, man.
Did you just Hodor?
Yeah,
Okay.
I ain't got time for that. But you know what I also ain't got time for?
What do you not have time for?
I ain't got time for... This isn't an Apple Watch, but pretend it's an iWatch or whatever. I don't have time for the iWatch. I know it won't crash and burn because, people will be camped out to buy it.
Right.
It'll sell a gabillion.
Yep.
But I'm just... There was a perfect thing I was listening. There was a great piece on NPR. It was larger. It was more largely about batteries and about. It's a guy who's written a book about the next evolution of battery and kind of talking about how it's interesting. He's more interested in, Apple has bought, snatched up all these battery makers, because Apple's moving forward with in researching car, working on an electric car.
Yeah.
And so he's excited to see what could Apple do. There needs to be the next great leap in battery technology. I feel like we've talked about batteries on this show before as well.
And graphene and whatnot like that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I just feel like is so head-scratching about, and they were even talking about this, is this Apple Watch, which is going to sell 1 million, but will probably be required to charge every 3 hours. Suddenly you're taking this watch off and slapping it down to charge something. It's that classic Apple thing of change human behavior to fit the product, not make a product that fits human behavior. I don't know. That said, I'll probably buy the Android watch when it comes out. Maybe not. So it shouldn't piss me off. This is Tom's classic things that piss Tom off. That shouldn't piss him off. But why can't you leave watches alone? I got a nice watch. I love my watch. Here's my pretty watch that I wear. It doesn't have GPS. It doesn't sync up with anything. It tells time
Really well.
It tells time really well,
effectively. And it doesn't run out of battery in one day.
If I forget, I don't have to worry about trying to remember to charge it the night before.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Get off my lawn.
On the battery front, I have heard a bunch of good things about the Dyson just purchased a battery manufacturer that's doing solid state batteries. So historically, they were making basically gels and media that moves electrons back and forth because there's an electrolyte in these batteries, right? So the lithium polymer has kind of a gel, and the lithium ion still has a little bit of a fluid inside of it. And so that's how the electrons move in that fluid. There's a new one that makes it much thinner by doing it on transistors effectively. So they are printing out the batteries on flat sheets instead of making them in a gel so that you can get them infinitesimally thinner. So therefore your cells stack much more effectively. So you would end up with you'd have to run those in series or whatever so that you get the right voltage whenever you're doing them, but it allows it to be much more condensed and have a lot higher power density. And they've done these in a lab historically quite often, actually, over the last 5-10 years when they're working on it. But there's one company that figured out how to make them at scale. And that's kind of the magic that allows you to make it a viable battery concept, because you can make them at scale. Because it doesn't do you any good to have one battery that has infinite life if it takes you $1 million to buy one. You might as well just plug in, right?
Yeah.
So the concept is, okay, now if we can make these guys at scale, and that's what Dyson's trying to do for their vacuum cleaner concept, and they've got some money, so they went ahead and did it. So we'll see how that guy turns out. But I look forward to battery technology 10 years from now.
I do too. I think it's exciting that more people... It's exciting that people who are outside the traditional battery industry are now kind of bringing it in-house and saying, let me use my R&D capital.
Right.
Snatch
because
up some
the
talent.
current battery tech people are making lots of money on it not being good.
Right.
Right? Because then they get to resell new batteries over and over and over again. So it's like the light bulb people aren't the ones who are innovating in the light bulb space.
Yeah.
It's
You need
people who
someone
are
who's
new to the
Yep.
market that are innovating
or
in that space.
or people whose product is dependent upon the next,
Right.
you know, like Apple's not in the battery selling business, but they're in the business of selling something that is dependent upon
batteries.
potentially strong batteries.
Right.
So let me bring that in-house and
Right.
start to make this component that's going to work for my
Not
life.
evolve, but just completely throw away the old book and remake a new
Yeah.
book, you know?
Yeah.
And so that would be exciting to do. But I think that it's necessary for specifically battery tech for people to think about efficiency for a little while. For the longest in all of our computing and all of these things that use up this juice, we were not thinking about efficiency. And so computer processors and all these kinds of things were just using more and more and more juice to get more power out of them. Now the newest guys from Intel are moving the total displaced power, the TDP, lower and lower on all of these, which means that you can now be more efficient and not need to carry around a book bag full of batteries. So that's what I've got for this week. Anybody else have anything they wanted to join in on?
I would just leave you with this. On eBay this week, the original Walt Disney World monorail, like a car, right? So it's about 30 feet in length. Is going for $170,000 on eBay right now, Jeff, if you want it.
Wow. What would I do with it?
Obviously, you would put it on top of your roof and make it into a bar.
Obviously.
Performance art. You totally performance
okay,
art.
take it back. It would clearly be performance art.
And then
our performance art
right.
here happens every week. Every single week, we will perform for you like monkeys in a cage.
Like a woman rolling around in beans.
Like a woman rolling around in beans. This show brings you performance.
We are your 3 lines of Coke right here. I'm Thom saying you don't have to snort like me.
And I'm Jeff saying you don't have to snort like me.
I don't snort.
But next week, we'll hope that you're here and you can at least think like us, even if you don't snort like us. So long.